Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the post-test discussion. We'll be considering here at the start history and polity questions. Later on, we'll be taking the other questions. So to start with, let us take the first question. Now, the first question talks about with reference to the cultural and educational rights guaranteed under the Constitution of India. Consider the following statements. So, any section of citizens have the right to conserve their distinct languages, script, or culture. Yes, this is given in the Constitution of India under Article 29. This is conserved, preserved. The second statement says that only linguistic and religious minorities have the right to establish and administer educational institution of their choices. Okay, now the question you see, you have to take into reference what the question में क्या दिया है. यहाँ पे दिया है with reference to the cultural and educational rights guaranteed under the Constitution of India. ये right तो सबको होता है, right? So only linguistic and religious minorities. So this is under Article 30. So this statement is correct. Both the statements are correct over here. So the answer is both 1 and 2. Now let us move to the question number. First we will be taking polity and history question. Question number 7, 8, 9. And I would appreciate your comments in the comment section. Yeah, with a reference to the impeachment, the question is about impeachment of the president. Consider the following statement. The impeachment charges of the president can be initiated by Lok Sabha only. This is wrong. So both the houses or any houses can initiate the process, not only Lok Sabha. So this statement becomes wrong. Then you have impeachment resolution should be passed by majority of 2/3 of the total membership of the houses. Yes, after passing by 2/3 of the major total and 2/3 of the majority, it has to be passed by the same by the second house also. So this statement is correct over here. Now the nominated members, third statement says that the nominated members of either house of parliament do not participate in the impeachment. See, they do not participate in the elections of the president, but for the for impeachment they do participate. So this statement is incorrect over here. So our answer is answer is statement number 2nd. Now the question number 8 is very easy. In here, in this 8 question number, it is talking about the Tribunal Reforms Act which was passed in 2021. Yes, the search cum selection committee will be headed by Chief Justice or the Supreme Court judge nominated by the Chief Justice of India. So this statement is correct. Only when the second statement, if you go, chairperson and members of the tribunal are provided a tenure of 5 years. It's not 5 years, it's 4 years. So this statement over here is wrong. Chairperson or members of the tribunals can be removed by the government only on the recommendation of this search cum selection committee. This is also correct over here. So the answer is 1 and 3 only. Very easy question. Yeah, martial law. Martial law. The Constitution of India has specific provision. Is there any specific provision in the Constitution? There is no provision in the Constitution which tells you when and how this martial law should be implemented. ठीक है, ये वाला statement incorrect है. Now the martial law is imposed on account of breakdown of law and order, whereas national emergency is imposed on account of war or external aggression. Is this statement correct? Yes, this statement is correct over here. Now the martial law suspend the government as well as the ordinary laws. Ordinary laws of the court, while in a national emergency only ordinary laws are what you call suspended. So this statement is also correct over here. यहाँ पे मार्शल लॉ में गवर्नमेंट के एंड ऑर्डिनरी लॉ बोथ दिस लॉज आर सस्पेंडेड. ठीक है. Question number we'll take question number plea bargaining. This will cover in your economy section. Yeah. Which of the following voters are allowed to cast their votes through the postal ballot? Yes, not specifically, widely in Article 34. Very nice, Ankit. Very nice. The martial law we are talking about. Now, take this question number 13. See, we cannot take every question right in a broader discussion. So, we'll just take the main issues which are very, very important. Postal ballot. All the government who are allowed, all the government employees. You see, this is a very broader prospect, right? All the government employees. So, this is not applicable, right, for all the government employees. Yes, the one who are posted at a different place for election duties, that government officials are allowed for this postal ballot. Now recently there has been many changes after this COVID. Not all, only armed forces, diplomats, yes, and no, we are talking about the government employees. So here जो लोग वोटिंग ड्यूटीज पे होते हैं उनको अलाउड होता है. ठीक है. वोटर्स अंडर प्रिवेंटिव डिटेंशन, यस दे आर अलाउड टू हैव अ पोस्टल बैलेट. वोटर्स अबाउट 65 years, right? Persons with disabilities, yes they are also allowed over here. ठीक है. So the answer is 2, 3 and 4. Now let us take the question number 25, 20. Yeah. So the question number 20 says that consider the following a statement, right? So first statement, it says that president can repeal or amend any act of parliament in relation to all union territories of India. Can it happen in case of Delhi? Can it happen in case of Delhi, Pondicherry? No, it cannot happen. For Delhi, you have the assembly, legislative assembly for Delhi and Pondicherry. So this cannot happen in case of Delhi and Pondicherry. Governor of 6th schedule state may direct that an act of parliament does not apply to the autonomous district in the state. Right? ये आसाम के लिए सही है, not in terms of the 6th schedule state. Now, both parliament and state legislature can make laws with respect to administration of justice. Yes, this can be in the 42nd amendment. Amendment passed in 1976. What happened over there? 5 subjects were transferred to the concurrent list. Now, which are they? One is administration of justice. The others are education, forest, weights and measurement, protection of wildlife. So, these 5 subjects are there. Education, then you have forest, weights and measurement, wild animal ka protection, and administration of justice. So this is correct over here. So the answer is 3 only. Now history question to start with. Question number 21 with reference to the Berlin Committee. याद है Berlin Committee? बचपन में पढ़ा था हमने Berlin Committee, which was where Lala Hardayal, where Virendranath Chattopadhyay, they were working outside India to support the Indian national movement. So Virendranath Chattopadhyay was the person associated with the Berlin Committee for Indian Independence. Now, it was established by Lala Hardayal. Yes, Lala Hardayal was one of the person along with Virendranath Chattopadhyay. Virendranath Chattopadhyay. Okay, under the Zimmermann plan. Yes, it aimed to mobilize the Indian settlers abroad to send volunteers and arms to India to incite rebellion among the Indian troops. Yes, so this is also the correct answer. So outside India, what are the revolutionaries were there? You need to study it very nicely. The Indian House in London, Indian House by Shamji Krishna Verma. Then you have yes, then you have in San Francisco the Gatherite movement. San Francisco, the Gatherite movement, Madam Bikaji Kama. Madam Kama from Paris. Then Berlin also, this Berlin Committee for Indian Independence. So different revolutionaries हैं, prelims के लिए बहुत important है. Next question. Yeah, Kesab Chandra Sen. Associated with the Brahmo Samaj? Yes, he was associated with the Brahmo Samaj. Keshav Chandra Sen. Now, he worked with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. It is the statement is saying he worked. He did not work with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Actually, इनका जब जन्म हुआ 1830s, I guess 38, and he died in 1833 around, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So yes, he was part of the Brahmo Samaj, but he did not work with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So this statement is wrong. He helped in the founding the Albert College and was instrumental in launching the Bethune College for Ladies. Very very important. Ladies के लिए उन्होंने बेथुन कॉलेज का हेल्प किया. So this statement is also right. धर्म तत्व and Indian Mirror, these were the magazine he was working for. So Kesab Chandra Sen, very influential person during the 1850s, because he joined as Acharya on the saying of Debendranath Tagore. He joined Brahmo Samaj, but Debendranath Tagore's ideas were not in confluence or not in sync with Keshav Chandra Sen. That is why a split in the Brahmo Samaj happens. So this statement is correct over here. So the answer is 2 and 3 only. Yes, with reference to the stay of Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa, consider the following statement. He formed the Natal Indian Ambulance Corps. Kesari Hind diya gaya tha unko, right? For helping the Britishers, because the Boers Wars were going on, right? The Boers War was going on in Africa during that time between the Dutch and the Britishers, and so this ambulance corps was formed by Gandhi as a medical support to all the casualties who are what are happening in the Africa in the Boers War. So yes, he formed the Natal Indian Ambulance Corps. During the civil disobedience in South Africa, he started Phoenix settlement in Durban and Tolstoy. So in the later phase of the Satyagraha, when the moderate methods of Gandhi was not very influential और वो result oriented नहीं दे रहे थे, then he thought about moving into the next strategy, that is forming the Phoenix settlement in Durban and Tolstoy by launching this civil disobedience movement. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देख लेते हैं हम. पौंडीचेरी, लास्ट टाइम ऑल्सो वी हैव सीन दिस पौंडीचेरी वाला क्वेश्चन, सिमिलर क्वेश्चन. पौंडीचेरी, पुदुचेरी. सो Dutch returned the Pondicherry to the French company under the Treaty of Ryswick. Yes, the Dutch, though they won in the battle versus the French, still this by the Treaty of रिस्विक 1699 में हुआ था ये रिस्विक. दिस Pondicherry was given to French. There was a settlement that was made in this Treaty of Ryswick. The statement is correct. Pondicherry became part of India in 1947. It became in 1960s. 1960s. The talks were going on between the government and the French over there. But yes, it took some time. It was not in 1960, not in 1947. Censorship Act of 1799. So Lord Wellesley बहुत famous थे. He was the Governor General during this time. 1799. Lord Wellesley is very famous for this subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance he is known for. ठीक है. So with the reference to Censorship Press Act of 1799. Consider the following statement. It was enacted by Governor General Richard Wellesley to prevent the French from publishing anything critical of the British. You see this phase 1700, that is the 18th century. It was all about Anglo-French rivalries. Okay, so this statement is correct. This led to ban on Amrit Bazar Patrika for publishing anti-government articles. यस एंड अमृत बाजार पत्रिका पे बैन लगा था और एक रात में ही इट चेंज्ड इट्स लैंग्वेज टू इंग्लिश बिकॉज वर्नाकुलर प्रेस वेर बैंड फ्रॉम publishing anything. But what it was not 1799, it was 1878. The Vernacular Press Act. Vernacular Press Act of 1878. ठीक है. So the answer is only one statement is correct over here. ठीक है. So we have covered 25 question number. Now let us move directly to 76 question number. Yeah. Khajuraho temples. The question is about the Khajuraho temples. Right? Khajuraho temples built during the 12th century. 12th century. Now, 11th 12th century के आसपास है इनका. So, right? So from 9th century it started. 900 से लेके तो 1130 is the main timeline when this Chandelas, right? The Chandela rulers, ABP converted self from vernacular. What is ABP? अच्छा, अमृत बाजार पत्रिका converted itself from vernacular to English language overnight. Yes, yes, it did convert because of the Vernacular Press Act. So consider the following statement about Khajuraho temple. It was built by the rulers of Pratihara. Pratihara तो पहले थे, right? So it was by the Chandela rulers. Chandela rulers. Temple finds mention in accounts of Al-Baruni and Ibn Battuta. Yes, these travelers do mention this. So the first statement is wrong. Second is right. Temples related to both Hinduism and अच्छा, where is this Khajuraho temple? In MP, है ना? MP में है ये. Now both Hinduism and Jainism is located in Khajuraho. Is it located? So Parshvanatha temple, the Jaina temple is very famous. Which? Parshvanatha temple. The Jaina temple is very famous over here. So this temple is very right. 64 Yogini temple, 64 Yoginis. 64 Yoginis ka temple is very famous, is part of the temple group. So yes, it is also correct over here. So the answer is 2, 3 and 4. Now question number 77. Which of the following steps to reform Indian society? To reform Indian society were taken during the Governor General William Bentinck. विलियम बेंटिक के दौरान कौन से अलग अलग ये लिए थे? सो दिस वाज द टाइम अराउंड 1829 टू 1833. Abolition of sati, yes, 1829, the abolition of sati act, this was passed by during the time of Lord Bentinck. Suppression of the thuggis, the thugs which were looting everything in the areas where the British were ruling. उस एरिया में पूरा लूट मार करने का they have taken on themselves कि हम लोग ऐसे ही करेंगे. So these thugs, so they created a lot of chaos in the empire. That is why they needed to be suppressed. तो ये किया था during the time of Lord Bentinck. Suppression of female infanticide, yes, this was also done during this time. Suppression of female infanticide. Enactment of the Hindu Widow Remarriage Act. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, we remember this name when we hear about the Hindu Widow Remarriage Act, but it was not during during Bentinck के time पे, it was in 1856. है ना? So this statement is wrong. So first 2 and 3 are correct over here. So answer is C. Now the Delhi Darbar के बारे में क्वेश्चन है. With reference to Delhi Darbars, first Delhi Darbar of 1877 led to the creation of the Privy Council. Yes, it did led to the creation of the Privy Council, where the crown, it also told that now I will also be known as the Empress of India. So the statement is right. Second Delhi Darbar of 1903, it happened. Second Delhi Darbar led to the transfer of capital from Calcutta to Delhi. ये तब नहीं हुआ था, ये हुआ था दिल्ली दरबार of 1911 में, where partition of Bengal was also cancelled, as well as the transfer of capital city from Calcutta to Delhi. Third Dalbar of 1911 was the only one attended by the Emperor of UK himself. Yes, so this is correct over here. Question number, yeah. So Ripon. During the time of Ripon, which of the following events happened during the time of Ripon? So Ripon का जो tenure था 1880 to 1884. Ripon, he also led to the cancellation of the Vernacular Press Act. So he repealed the Vernacular Press Act. He is also known as the father of local self-government in India, है ना? So local self-government, he decentralization. So and Hunter Commission was appointed on education in 1882 during his reign. ठीक है? Yeah, question number 80. So question number 80, yes, 80 we will be considering slave dynasty. When was the slave dynasty? Muhammad Ghori. Yes, Factory Act also during the time of Ripon, 1881, the first Factory Act. Very nice, Vishal, very nice. Now let us consider this question, the polity of medieval India. Now they are saying that slave dynasty succeeded the Lodhis. अब slave dynasty कब थी? After Muhammad Ghori, everyone was the slave dynasty. आप लोग कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक, then you have the Iltutmish, then Razia Sultan and Balban. So right from 1206, during the time of Iltutmish Aibak, उसके बाद to 1290 to 1290, all this was the slave dynasty. After slave dynasty, who was there? The Khiljis, है ना, Jalauddin Khilji, Alauddin Khilji and all. So they were the Khiljis. खिलजीज का टाइम पीरियड है नॉर्मली 1290 से 1320, दिस 30 years के आसपास. आफ्टर दिस खिलजीज वेर द तुगलक्स, which had Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Tughlaq के बाद who were there? So till 1410 के आसपास Tughlaqs were there. After them were the Sayyids, right? After them were the Sayyid dynasty. So this statement is correct over here, but slave dynasty succeeded the Lodis. नहीं, लोडी तो बहुत बाद में था, right? Lodis तो before the Mughals came to India, that time Lodis were there. And so this statement is right. This is correct over here. Krishnadevaraya of the Vijayanagara kingdom. Krishnadevaraya, very famous king, very famous king of the Vijayanagar kingdom. So Ibrahim Lodi was last. Yes, yeah. So Krishnadevaraya, was he a contemporary of Babur? कैसे पता चलता है? Baburnama mentions Krishnadevaraya. So he was a contemporary of Babur. So Baburnama, yes, he mentions over there Krishnadevaraya of the Vijayanagar. And Krishnadevaraya, he is also very well versed in writing many literatures, Amukta Malyada, Telugu literature. He composed Telugu poem Amukta Malyada. So this statement is also right over here. He got constructed the Virupaksha temple in Hampi. Actually Virupaksha temple Devaraya ने construct किया है. So he has also constructed many temples. Who we are talking about? Krishnadevaraya. Yeah, Krishnadevaraya, Vitthal Swami temple, Vitthal Swami temple. This was constructed by Krishnadevaraya, and it was the Devaraya who constructed this Krishna Virupaksha temple. Devaraya अलग है, Krishnadevaraya अलग है. ठीक है. So this statement is wrong over here. So the answer is 1 and 2 only. दिल्ली सल्तनत के बारे में पूछा है इन्होंने. Consider the following statement about Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji. He was the founder of the Khilji dynasty. Was he the founder? उन्होंने अपने चाचा को मारा था, right? He has killed his chacha, Jalauddin Khilji. And so he is not the founder. Diwan-e-Mustakharats was the department of arrears. Yes, it is right. So during this Alauddin Khilji, he tried to bring very reforms in the market. Reforms उन्होंने लाया था. So 3 types of market was made by Alauddin Khilji, and lot of punishments to the punishment if someone is breaking the rules, regulations. Why? Because he wanted to have a very strong army. और army strong करने के लिए there was a need that we need to pay them into cash, right? Cash में pay करना होगा. So उसके लिए पैसा कहाँ आएगा? So that is why he wanted to make rules and regulations very strict in the market. He constructed the Alai Darwaza, the palace of 1,000 pillars, Hazara Sultan, and fort of Siri, all in Delhi, in Delhi region. So yes, he did construct this too. So the answer to this is 2 and 3. With reference to the Indian literature, बहुत ही इजी सवाल है ये। लीलावती, लीलावती अ बुक ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स रिटन बाय भास्कराचार्य, written by भास्कराचार्य। So you should be knowing all by now। सारे आपको literature है ना, main literature and what is the content of the literature and the writers, ये सारे तीनों angle से you should be knowing। The best way to learn about this literatures and to remember these things is the finding the contemporary rulers। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप गुप्ता पीरियड में अगर जाते हो तो लर्न अबाउट द कंटेम्पररी लिटरेचर्स और द राइटर्स हु आर देयर ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम, उनके बारे में पढ़ो एंड रिमेंबर अकॉर्डिंग टू द रूलर्स। ऐसा नहीं कि ये लिटरेचर इसने लिखा है, वो लिटरेचर उसने लिखा है। दिस विल बिकम अ वेरी हेक्टिक काइंड ऑफ अ जॉब। Now, very easy question. Which of the following Neolithic site? Read the question very carefully again. Which of the following are Neolithic sites? नहीं पूछा है, in India पूछा है। So Mehergarh, where is Mehergarh? It's not in India. It's on the Indus Valley, very close to the Indus Valley, है ना। Picklehull, Karnataka region. Gufral, very famous site in the Kashmir region. So this is there. Koldivaha near Dhaimabad, MP Maharashtra border, Koldivaha। So all these sites are Neolithic sites in India. Right? So we have Mehergarh, Burzahom, Gufral, right? Again, just revising. Chirand in Bihar, Piklihal, Brahmagiri, Maski, Hallur, all in Karnataka region, Belan Valley. So all are these. Now question number 85 is a little tricky one. It is a deserted village. ठीक है, an archaeological site on the left bank on the Pravara river, a tributary of the Godavari। अगर इससे आपको is not in India, Mehergarh is not in India, Vishal। It's not in India now, means it's already in present day Pakistan it is there, Mehergarh। It's a Neolithic site, yeah, a tributary of the Godavari river। अभी ये गोदावरी रिवर से ही आपको ये आंसर आना चाहिए। Now what it is saying that one of the significant findings of this place is the chariot, the wheels of which are represented in a simple circular shapes, while the driver of the human rider has been elongated and the bulls in the forefront are model। बेसिकली टेराकोटा फिगर के बारे में ये बात कर रहे हैं। किसके बारे में? टेराकोटा फिगर। So what is there? This Amdi, Balakot, Ropar, it's in Haryana। Balakot, Amdi, these are all in the present day Pakistan region। And it's in Dhaimabad, right? The Godavari के आप उन्होंने क्या पूछा है कि where is the Godavari tributary से जाता है? So Pravara। So Dhaimabad is the answer। Now 86 Puchampalli village in Andhra was selected as one of the best tourism villages by the United Nations World Tourism Organization। Is this statement correct? ये statement तो correct है कि पूचमपल्ली village को मिला है best village का, right? They have selected as one of the best tourism village, but it's not in Andhra, it's in Telangana। See, idea is not to confuse you. Idea is if you are making that statement wrong, you get to know about what actually the correct reference is। Now Puchampalli Ikat, the silk से related है। Ikat is a sari with the geographical indication। Yes, this is correct। It is also known as the silk city, है ना। Puchampalli को silk city के नाम से भी जाना जाता है। 87 question number yeah, 87 we have 87 with reference to the ancient Indian philosophy, consider the following statement। Now heterodox schools recognize the authority of Vedas। Is the statement correct? while orthodox do not believe. Orthodox believe करते हैं, हम कहते हैं ना कि if the philosophy is very orthodox, it means it is back, it is believing in the old philosophy. So this statement is incorrect over here. Actually, heterodox schools do not recognize the authorities of Vedas. And which are heterodox schools? Charvak, Buddhism, Jainism, right? So this statement, are heterodox schools of philosophy? This is right, this is wrong over here. Now, Sankhya is an orthodox philosophy which talks about Prakriti and Purusha are eternal and independent about each other. See, Prakriti means nature. Purusha means an independent entity. So, संख्या फिलोसॉफी क्या बोलता है कि संख्या और संख्या फिलोसॉफी से दैट प्रकृति एंड पुरुषा आर इटर्नल एंड इंडिपेंडेंट टू ईच अदर. they are eternal and still they are independent of each other. So this statement is true about this. So this philosophy, it has a very very deep meaning. So whenever you are reading about philosophy, पहले जान लो कि वो philosophy, what is the main aspect of that. Now Ankiya Nat, it is not from so it is telling folk theater and state. Ankiya Nat is from Assam. Bhand Pathir, Jammu Kashmir, yes, it is correct. It is the folk dance from Jammu and Kashmir. Krishnattam is from Kerala. Kerala. Yakshagana from Karnataka. Yes, this is right. So the answer is 2 and 4 is only correct over here. Now the next question talks about 91. Yeah, we have 91 question number. Yeah, question number 90 also. Which of the following functionaries can be removed by the governor of a state? State से कौन निकालता है ना? Who can be removed by the governor? Now very interesting. Chairperson of the State Public Service Commission, is he removed by the governor? No, he can be removed only by, there is some process, but only by the president. Judge of the State High Court? No. Advocate General of the state? Yes, he can be only. So out of these, State Election Commissioner? No. So all of them, even though they are representing a state, still they can only be removed by the President of India, not by the governor of that particular state. So only Advocate General of the state can be removed by the governor himself. So 90 we have covered. 91 is very very easy. 91 is very factual, very easy. 92 also very easy regarding your order of precedence. Order of precedence in India. So order of precedence, it is mentioned in the 4th schedule. 4th schedule में ये mention है? No. What is mentioned in the 4th schedule? Yes, I want an answer. What is the representation number by each particular state in the state council? So ये वाला है. So this order of precedence, it is not mentioned over there. It is enforced by the Union Home Ministry. Yes, it is correct. Now what is order of precedence? What is order? What is your order whenever there is any function, or so you should have an order of precedence. So we have such as the president is the first important, then the vice president is important, right? Then comes your prime minister, then the governors of the state, and so on. Prime minister, then the governor of that particular states. Okay, and then on the order of precedence goes on. It's not a rank. It is not a rank, it is order of precedence. ये बस फंक्शनरी फंक्शंस के लिए यूज होता है. Yeah, 94. Question number 94. With reference to the Attorney General of India, consider the following statements. He or she should be qualified to be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court. Is it the criteria? Yes, this is the criteria. He is debarred from the private. So article number 76, right? It tells you about this Attorney General and the various immunities it can get, the power, the responsibilities of Attorney General of India. He or she is debarred from private practice. No, by taking the permission of the ministry, he or she can practice for commercial purpose, for commercial process. Criminal के लिए there is other way, right? He or she has the right to participate in the proceedings of both the houses. Yes, they have all the immunities such as the MPs only, MPs only. So this is about, so these two statements are correct. So answer is 1 and 3 is only correct over here. Okay, now we will cover your economy section first. So just wait for the economy section. We'll just start in a while.
Hello everybody. So let's okay. Hello Ankit, hello Vishal. So we will start with economy portion of test 10 discussion. Okay. So let's get back to the question number 2. So number 2 to 6 is economy. So let me pull the cursor up and so yeah, we are closer. Now we will go to question number 2. Okay, ठीक है. So this is question number 2. Okay. Okay, let me adjust it a bit. ठीक है. Okay, I'm just taking some time to adjust the screen and things. Okay, so let's see question number 2. Okay, with reference to application of goods and services tax for external trade. ठीक है, तो application of goods and services tax, this is particularly for external trade, that is for import and export. ठीक है, which of the following statement given below is correct? Both import and export as treated as zero rated supply. Is it? You know about GST? GST is destination based tax. Okay, GST is destination based tax. That means goods and services are taxed where it is consumed. Okay, not where it is produced. Okay, the example is that if some good is produced in Tamil Nadu but it is consumed by a consumer in Bihar, then the GST will be applied in which state? It will be applied in Bihar, not in Tamil Nadu. Okay, because of this problem, there was states producing states were creating we are raising this issue. Okay, so that was that. Okay, so with reference to application of ठीक है, तो GST is a destination based tax. If you remember only this thing, that GST is a destination based tax, then you know that in GST export is treated as zero rated supply because the goods or services is being produced in India. Okay, it is produced in India but it is consumed in some other country. Okay, so that country is destination country. ठीक है, while import is taxed. While in case of import, it is India is the consuming country. India is the place where it is being consumed. So export is treated as zero rated supply while import is taxed. So pahla galat, import is zero rated supply while export is taxed, wrong, and both import and export are wrong. So C is the correct answer. Okay, so here we have to. So one of the implications of launching GST is that Indian export becomes competitive in the market because earlier they used to be taxed at both places. Though there was provision of input tax credit system, but it was not that efficient. So with GST, the export is not taxed. ठीक है, answer हो गया C. ठीक है, then this constitutional limit supply of goods and services, Article 269A. Okay, you have to you don't have to remember too much things about Article 269A, but you should remember that Article 269A was introduced by 101st Amendment Act and it is related to GST. ठीक है, इतना तो पता होना चाहिए. This much you should know. ठीक है. Question 3. With reference to exchange rate system, consider the following statements. The exchange rate system, amount of, let's read first statement. Amount of dollar which can be brought using 1 rupee. So amount of dollar which can be brought using 1 rupee gives a measure of real exchange rate of rupee, real exchange rate. And the second statement is about nominal exchange rate of rupee. So real exchange rate and nominal exchange rate. If you know the concept well, that what is real and what is nominal in exchange rate thing, then you know that nominal exchange rate means that if you have 1 rupee, then how much dollar you can buy, or vice versa. If you have $1, how many rupees you can buy. Okay, so this equivalence between rupee and dollar in terms of relative quantities is called nominal. Okay, so $1 में कितना रुपया, that is nominal. ठीक है, while on opposite side the real exchange rate means there is a common good and how much good and how much dollar is required to buy that quantity of goods and how much rupees is required to buy that quantity of goods. Okay, so that is real exchange rate is much closer to the concept of PPP, purchasing power parity concept, is much closer to real exchange rate. Okay, that means 1 is incorrect and 2 is also incorrect. Amount of dollar which can be brought using 1 unit of dollar gives a measure of nominal exchange rate, not real exchange rate, right? And vice versa. Okay, so answer will be D. Okay, which of the following statement is correct about terms of trade? Okay, correct about terms of trade. Now, if you know, this is a very technical term. Okay, unless you know what is terms of trade, it becomes tricky to answer the question. Okay, but if you know that terms of trade is some ratio which is related to the index of export price and import price, if you know, or even if you know that terms of trade is related to something related to import and export price, if you know that, then it's easy for you to answer this question. Otherwise, it becomes very tricky. Okay, statement first, it is relationship between discount availed and discount offered by a country under free trade agreement. So you see, term of trade, even if you know that term of trade is related to external trade, even then all the four options are related to external trade only. Okay, so it becomes very difficult. Okay, so term of trade is relationship between import and export price of a country. Okay, that is term of trade. That is, term of trade is index of export price upon index of import price. Okay, and into 100, of course, if it is a ratio. Okay, now tell me, if term of trade is more than 100, what does it mean? Okay, if term of trade is more than 100, that means index of export price is higher than index of import price. Okay, that means index of export price is rising at much faster pace in comparison to the index of import price. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, in India, in recent 5 years, India have seen a term of trade have remained more than 100 for India. Okay, so this is about India. Okay. So again, if term of trade is more than 100%, that means that means we are exporting more. Okay, but if term of trade is less than 100, that means more capital is leaving India. If term of trade is less than 100, that means price of import, index of import price is high. If index of import price is high, that means what? We are paying more. That means more money is going out of India. Okay. See, in economy and particularly in external trade, always you have to keep your eye on where money is going, which direction, flow of direction of money is very important. You keep your eye there and you will get your questions right. Okay. Okay, question 5. Elasticity of demand depends on which of the following? Now, what is elasticity of demand? Elasticity of demand depends on which of the following? Means if suppose elasticity of demand depends on some factor X. It means that if there will be change in X, then will there be a change in demand, and how much? If there will be if there will be too much change in demand because of change in a factor X, then that means that there is a high elasticity of demand. Okay, or otherwise low. Suppose if you will take example of, say, mask. Okay, surgical masks in India. Okay, and surgical mask in Japan. Okay, let's take this cultural example. Okay, in India, when COVID was at peak, demand for surgical mask was very high because everybody was using it. Okay, so demand of elasticity of demand of surgical mask, when we compare it with elasticity of demand, elasticity of demand of surgical mask depends so much on COVID intensity in India. Okay, high है तो surgical mask का demand ज़्यादा है. अभी nowadays it's lesser, even though it's picking up, but still it's much less. So you can see people roaming on road without surgical masks. Of course, it is not advisable, but people are doing so. That means elasticity of demand is very high. In India, elasticity of demand of surgical mask on COVID is very high. But if you look at Japan, then in Japan on normal days also people wear surgical masks. Okay, that means elasticity of demand of surgical mask on COVID will be less in Japan, because even without COVID they were using it, so the relation is less, elasticity of demand is less. Okay, now let's come back to question. So availability of substitutes, elasticity of demand depends on availability of substitute. If there is a substitute, then elasticity of demand, it will depend. And the good thing about this question is all it says is that elasticity of demand depends on, not increasing, decreasing, just कि depend करता है कि नहीं करता है. Okay, depend. Availability of substitutes, of course, if there will be a substitute available, then demand for the other good will come down. Okay, income level. Okay, if income level of a individual will increase, then its nature of demand will change, isn't it? So it is a documented thing in India that as income level of people in urban areas increases, demand for protein related things like milk or non-veg things, paneer, these things is on increase as income level of people is increasing. Okay, so this also depends this degree of necessity of the good. Okay, if something is very important, then its elasticity of demand will be less. Okay, for example, medicine. Okay, if no matter what will be the cost of paracetamol, people will buy it if they will need it. Okay, so degree of necessity of good also is related to elasticity of demand. And inflation, of course, if there will be a price rise, then people will start people will rationalize their expenditure, so it will have impact on elasticity of demand. तो ऐसे में तो सीधे आंसर इज 1 2 3 and 4. ठीक है, more things, number of uses, habits, it depends on your habit. Okay, so if lots of people in India will start smoking, then elasticity of demand for cigarettes or things like that will come down. Okay, question 6, with reference to gross fixed capital formation, consider the following statement. Now, what is gross fixed capital formation? It is nothing but the investment component of the GDP. Okay, gross fixed capital formation is investment component of GDP. Now be very careful, it is important because UPSC have already asked this in mains examination also. Okay, now gross fixed capital formation accounts for the depreciation of fixed capital. Okay, it do not account for depreciation of fixed capital. Okay, if fixed capital is being depreciated, it's not being accounted. Okay, consumption is also not accounted. So 1 वाला तो हट गया, आंसर ही आ गया 2 and 3. If you know that 1 is incorrect, then you'll get it at 2 and 3. Okay, be very careful. Point number 2, it's very important to remember point number 2, because as we say that there are very few parameters, very few macroeconomic parameters which have a steady trend. So India's gross fixed capital formation at constant price steadily increased between 2010 to 2019. Okay, so there was this trend till 2019. So we have data till then, so there is a trend. Okay, so now we'll move to question number 38. That's from where economy portion will start. Okay, we are here. Okay. Okay. General network access, a term recently in news, is most closely related to which of the following? Okay, general network access, if you are read about one nation, one grid, this was in news recently, that states will get general network access. If states will get general network access, then they will have access to the interstate transmission lines. Okay, there will be interstate electricity transmission lines, and if states will have general network access, then they can they can access data, they can access power, electricity from that grid. Okay, that means it is. So it is very easy if you know in which context it was used. If you don't know in which context it was used, then it becomes very difficult. Okay, so power transmission system. Yeah. Okay, UPSC may ask that general network access is related to which of the following, and then they will give you one nation, one tax, one nation, one electricity, one grid. Okay, so things like that. One nation, one language. Okay, so things like that UPSC may give in option. Question number 39. With reference to the Santhal uprising. Okay, so this is a history question which is sandwiched between two economy question. Okay, so let's have a look anyway. Okay, so with reference to Santhal uprising, consider the following statements. It was inspired by the revolt of 1857 to drive away outsiders, which they call Dikus. Okay, be very careful. This part to right. Okay, that they used to call the uprising was to drive away outsiders, which they call as Dikus. Okay, ये तो सही है, इसमें there is no problem. But the thing is, was it inspired by the revolt of 1857? Okay, because Santhal uprising happened much before 1857. Okay, so Santhal uprising was something which happened in towards the end of 17th century. Okay, so this is incorrect. Okay, it cannot be inspired by revolt of 1857 because chronologically speaking, it happened before that. Okay. Then after second statement, after suppressing the uprising, British government forbade the transfer of Adivasi lands to non-Adivasis. Yes, this is correct about Santhal uprising. In fact, Santhal uprising was asked by UPSC previously also, but probably in 2018 UPSC have asked about Santhal uprising. Okay, so the Santhal Pargana was formed in that time, and the act was passed which forbade the transfer of Adivasi land to non-Adivasis. Okay, so if you see the act, okay. So Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act 1876 was passed later on. Okay, of course later on, not immediately. Which of the following components have maximum contribution in India's GDP? Okay, now this is an interesting question. GDP have four components. Okay, that is private consumption, investment by business, that is private investment, government spending, and net export. Net export means import minus export. Okay, so sorry, export minus import. Whatever we know. Okay, let's first talk about net export. Maximum contribution of India GDP. Suppose we are buying an Apple product which was manufactured and assembled, let's say in Taiwan. Okay, if an Apple product which was assembled in Taiwan and we are just getting it in India, is it part of GDP of India? Can we say that it is part of GDP of India? Okay, what is definition of GDP? Okay, that is domestic final goods and services produced in the domestic economy. Okay, so because that Apple product which you ordered from Taiwan was not manufactured in India, so it's not part of India GDP. So whatever you are importing is not part of India GDP, while whatever you are exporting is indeed a part of India GDP. है ना? So yeah, ठीक है. Now let's get back to question. Which of the following components has maximum contribution in India GDP? So private consumption have maximum component in India GDP. Okay, so this becomes very important because whenever there is a slowdown in economy, then government have a look that which component is fluctuating more. Okay, so is it the private consumption which is going down, or is it government spending which is going down? Depending on that data, government will take appropriate step. Okay, so government may increase on expenditure if government spending component is going down, or government may give some tax break if they feel that private consumption is going down. So things like that. So private consumption, it's between 55 to 60% of India GDP is private consumption. Okay, on number 2 we have investment by businesses. Okay, investment by businesses is number 2. It's around 22%. Okay, and then there is government spending and net export. Net export for India is positive or negative? Let me know in chat. Okay, which of the following countries are part of supply chain resilience initiative? Okay, supply chain resilience initiative. Now, why this initiative was launched? What is supply chain resilience initiative? Okay, let's not get into too much detail, but you should know that because of COVID, supply chain was disrupted, which led to reduction in the supply of goods in countries like India. So, for example, automobile industry suffered a lot because semiconductor supply was disrupted during COVID. So, to deal with these kind of problems, few countries came together and formed supply chain resilience initiative. Which were they? Okay, if you at least know that this supply chain resilience initiative was formed by India and some other countries to counter China's increasing influence in Indo-Pacific. If you know at least this thing, that India and a group of countries formed supply chain resilience initiative to counter China's activity, China's increasing influence in Indo-Pacific, then you know that China is not one of the options. So if you can remove two, you will already have these options. Either C will be correct or D will be correct. Okay. This indeed is a tough choice between C and D. If you do not know, it's a tough choice. But if you know that it is related to Indo-Pacific, probably US won't be there. But then now that I know I am able to make these guesses, it's very difficult to make such guesses. It was really difficult to choose one between this. Okay. Now for your answer, it's Japan and Australia. So India, Japan and Australia, these three countries came together and formed supply chain resilience initiative, right? Okay. Now question 42. With reference to minimum support price for minor forest produce scheme, consider the following statements. Okay. With reference to minimum support price for minor forest produce. Now, what are the minor forest produce? What are the examples of minor forest produce? Okay. Anybody? Okay. So minor forest produce, the things like raisins or gum, raisins, mahua. These things are minor forest produce, which is in fact the mainstay of tribal way of life. Tribal economy is based on minor forest produce. Okay. Okay. With reference to minimum support price, so they also have MSP. Okay, but be very careful. Minor forest produce, MSP for minor forest produce is different from the MSP for the other crops. Okay. It is started by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. Sorry. So it is not started by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. If you know that minor forest produce is related to tribal way of life, then you can guess that this should be incorrect. Okay. So it is Ministry of Tribal Affairs is the right answer. Okay. It is started by Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So वो एक तो गलत हो गया. The moment एक गलत हो गया, now you have only two options, either true only or neither one, now two. Okay, let's go. It is applicable in all states. It's a really difficult one. Okay, if you do not know, it becomes difficult, because now that you know that minor forest produce is related to tribal population, then you may tend to think that it will be applicable only in those states where tribal population is in majority, or where there is a significant tribal population. That means you may tend to think that MSP for minor forest produce will be applicable only in those areas which are under 5th schedule or 6th schedule. Okay, this may you may tend to think that. Okay, but then you know that as things stand, it is applicable in all states. Okay, it is applicable in all states. It do not depend on the percentage tribal population. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, this is correct means 2 only will be the correct answer. है कि नहीं? ठीक है. Question 43. Consider the following statements with reference to the composition levy scheme. Okay, composition levy scheme. If you know that composition levy scheme is something related to GST, if you at least know this, that composition levy scheme is something related to GST, but still your life is not made any easy, because the statement number 1 says that it is voluntary and optional scheme for those businesses which are involved in export of goods. Now, if you do not know exactly, it becomes difficult. It indeed is voluntary, it indeed is optional scheme, but it is not for those businesses which are involved in export of goods. It is for small businesses. Okay, how small? Okay, that is decided by the government. Okay, that is GST Council. But how small is different thing. But it is for small businesses. Okay, small businesses, because they find compliance with the GST very difficult, very costly, very time consuming. So they have an option of paying GST every quarter on some fixed rate, without having to maintain all the digital work. Now they don't have to maintain paperwork, but digital work they have to do. Okay, so it is a voluntary and optional scheme for small businesses. Okay, small businesses. So one to galat ho gaya. If you know that one galat ho gaya, you will arrive directly at answer. So if you only knew that composition levy scheme is related to GST, and it is to make GST friendly for small businesses, then you would have got the answer right without having to go for statement 2 and 3. Let's still see statement 1, 2 and 3. Provisions related to composition levy have been provided under Central GST Act. Yes, it is right. The composition levy scheme is under Central GST Act. And a business opting for this scheme cannot claim input tax credit on this purchase. Yes, this is also correct, that if a business will choose composition levy scheme, then they cannot claim input tax credit as well. Okay, so this is a side effect. Okay, this is something which they will have to live with. Okay, that's why it is optional and voluntary. It's not compulsory. You have to see which will be beneficial for you, right? So ये हो गया 43. 44. Which of the following statements is correct about Krishi Vigyan Kendras? Okay, which of the following statements are correct about Krishi Vigyan Kendras? Now, if you know Krishi Vigyan Kendra and you know its purpose, its main purpose is information dissemination, to disseminate information related to new technologies among the farmers. Okay, and to give consultancy services to farmers. Okay, this is what the common perception is about Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Now let's have statement number 1. It produces quality technological products like seeds and livestock and make it available to farmers. Now, if you do not know that, then it becomes a bit tricky. You may think that Krishi Vigyan Kendra do not actively produce something and send it, but as things stand, it do. Statement number 1 is correct. Okay, so it do produce quality technological products like seeds and livestock and make it available to farmers. This is one of the jobs of Krishi Vigyan Kendras. ठीक है, तो एक तो सही है, ठीक है, statement number 1 is correct. Okay, now 2, the scheme is fully financed by the government of India. Yes, it is central sector scheme. It is 100% financed by the government of India. It is not a centrally sponsored scheme. A sponsored scheme नहीं है, ठीक है, तो fully financed है, ठीक है. This means तो 1 is correct. That means both 1 and 2 are correct. That's the right answer. Question number 45. With reference to the 15th Finance Commission report, which Finance Commission just submitted report? Is it 14th, is it 15th, or is it 16th? Okay, so not 16th. It's the 15th Finance Commission just submitted report. Okay, so few months back. So with reference to 15th Finance Commission, consider the following statements about horizontal devolution criteria. Horizontal devolution criteria. There are 2 criteria. Vertical devolution is between center and state, and horizontal devolution is between two and more states. Between states, okay. Vertical is between 2 levels of the federal polity, center and state, and horizontal is between the same level of the polity, that is between the same states. how it is being divided. Okay, ठीक है. So one is income distance is defined as the distance of the gross state domestic product of a particular state from the average GSDP of the all states. Now be very careful. You know that income distance is the largest criteria. It has the largest percentage contribution in decision making. But income distance is different. But how it is defined? The income distance is defined as the distance of the gross state domestic product of a particular state from the average GSDP of the all the states. Okay, now is it right? Okay, is it difference between GSDP of a particular state minus GSDP of the average of all the states? It looks logical, okay, on the surface of it. Okay, but as the things stand, this is incorrect statement. Okay, income distance is first the state which has highest GSDP is determined. Okay, so suppose a state have highest GSDP, then income distance for any other state is the difference between the GSDP of that state minus GSDP of the state with highest GSDP. ठीक है, इस दोनों का डिफरेंस सबसे ज्यादा का माइनस जो पर्टिकुलर स्टेट इन क्वेश्चन है. ठीक है, तो उसका डिफरेंस जो है वो है इनकम डिस्टेंस. ठीक है, एवरेज के साथ डिफरेंस नहीं. ओके, सो वन इज इनकरेक्ट. Okay, the moment one is incorrect, okay, so question have been set very difficult, and the options have been set very intelligently. So even though you know that income distance is what is income distance, even then you won't be able to arrive at the answer. Okay, second, income distance has the highest weight in deciding horizontal distance between the states. Yes, right, income distance indeed have the highest weight. Okay. ठीक है, so about 45% of the weight is to income distance. Okay, so it's again be very careful. It's a 45%, so it is less than half. Okay, not more than half. UPSC may say that it has the highest and it has more than 50% stake. So not more than 50%. Okay. So income distance has highest weight in deciding horizontal devolution. Yes, indeed it is correct. A state with a higher fertility ratio will be given more finances as compared to the low fertility rate to control total fertility rate. Okay, to control total fertility rate. See, one of the tricks which UPSC plays every now and then is that it is giving you some reason to trust the statement. Okay, then you should be suspicious. I'm not saying that that statement is always incorrect. No, that's not the case. But you should be extra cautious at least. Okay, so here in this statement you are being given a reason to believe that statement is correct. To the low fertility state to control total fertility rate, it's trying to justify a statement. Okay, but it is incorrect. Okay, so a state with lower fertility rate will be given more finances. Okay, as an incentive. Okay, as a reward, you may say. Why this provision was added in 15th Finance Commission? Because 15th Finance Commission, the population related calculations of 15th Finance Commission was made on the basis of which population? Census 2011. Okay, तो census 2011 के basis पर यहाँ का सारा calculation हुआ. Now, if census 2011 was taken into consideration, that means the states which were able to control their population became apprehensive, because if devolution will be on the basis of 2011 population, this means that a state which failed to control their population, states which currently have very high level of population will benefit, while states which succeeded in controlling the population will be at disadvantage. Okay, that was the problem. That's why states, particularly northern states, they raised the red flag that they will be at disadvantage. So this component was included, that states with lower fertility rate will have some extra point. Okay, ठीक है. That means 3 is also incorrect. If 3 is incorrect, then you know that C2 only is the correct answer. ठीक है. Now let's say, okay, question number 46. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements about consolidated sinking fund. Be very careful. Question is about consolidated sinking fund. Okay, consolidated fund of India के बारे में नहीं है, consolidated fund of state के बारे में भी नहीं है. Okay, it is not about that. It is about consolidated sinking fund. What is consolidated sinking fund? This was in news. In last 2 years, consolidated sinking fund have been in news repeatedly. Okay, so be very careful about consolidated sinking fund. Now, it is a fund maintained by a state government as a buffer for repayment of their liabilities. Statement number 1 is correct. Okay, so consolidated fund, sinking fund is a fund managed by state governments for repayment of their liabilities. What state governments do is that they save a part of their earning as in consolidated sinking fund, which they maintain with Reserve Bank of India. Okay, so consolidated sinking fund is a fund of state governments maintained with Reserve Bank of India, where they keep money for so that in future, if there will be some financial crisis, then they can use that money. Okay, so how it will help? One, though, it will give resilience to state finances. One. Second is that lenders to the state government will feel that there is some backup plan. There is some cushion to the state. So there is a high chance that the state will not fail. Okay. So that means क्या हो गया? One तो correct है. It was announced in budget 2022-23 as part of measured. Okay, no. It was not announced in budget 2022-23. ये बहुत पुराना है. More than 10 years past. तो ये काफ़ी पुराना है. ठीक है. कब का है ये याद रहना एग्जैक्टली जरूरी नहीं है, बट ये पता होना जरूरी है कि अभी का तो नहीं है. ठीक है. तो 2 तो गलत है. The moment 2 गलत है, you have to decide on 3. Okay, we are not able to arrive at an answer even though we know 1 and 2. Okay, so fund is maintained with Reserve Bank of India. Yes, fund indeed is maintained by Reserve Bank of India. ये सही है. Reserve Bank of India ही fund maintain करती है. ठीक है. So 1 and 3 is correct. Consolidated sinking fund, this is very important concept. Okay, why I am stressing on this again and again is because it's not there in traditional texts, but it was there in news many a times. Okay. With reference to inverted duty structure, consider the following statement. Now, what is inverted duty structure? Okay. What is so for that, what is normal duty structure? Okay, in normal duty structure, what happens is that government incentivizes those manufacturers which are importing inputs from abroad and then assembling it, manufacturing it, and then exporting the final produce or selling the final produce to domestic consumers. Okay, so that means incentive should be to import inputs, not to import the final product. Okay, that should be the incentive. Now, how that incentive can be created? By creating a difference between the tax, a difference between the duty, custom duty or import duty, whatever, by creating a difference between the duty on imported input and imported final produce. Okay, so if duty will be high on imported final produce, then manufacturers will have incentive to import inputs and sell it in India. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर क्या हो गया? It is a situation where import duty on finished goods are higher than on input goods. This is opposite of what inverted duty is. This is normal duty. Okay, when देखो, जब import duty finished goods पर ज़्यादा है, तो ये तो normal circumstance है that government will do so that manufacturers will not import finished goods. Instead, it will import the inputs. Okay, so this is the normal. This is not inverted duty. This is normal duty structure. ठीक है. तो 1 तो कट गया. So the moment 1 cut gaya, you have 2 only, and neither 1 nor 2. What is 2? In India, tax rates on man-made fiber and yarn is more than the fabrics. Okay, this is correct statement. Okay, ठीक है. India में ये correct statement है. Tax rate on man-made fiber and yarn is more than the fabrics. Now you see, man-made fiber and yarn is more than the fabrics. So fabrics is the finished good, isn't it? Which is finished good? Is it man-made fiber or fabrics? Fabrics is the finished good, while man-made fiber and yarn is the input. Okay. Now tax rate on input is more. That means there is no incentive for manufacturers to import these things and then make yarn and sell. Okay, that means, so this is correct. Okay, this was in news. Why? Because of there was this scheme by the government to incentivize the textile industry in India, production linked incentive scheme for textiles. So there it was in news that why is the problem, ऐसा दिक्कत क्या है, ऐसा समस्या क्या आ रहा है. ठीक है. So 2 is correct. So 2 only is the correct answer. ठीक है. Now question number 48. ठीक है. 48 को देखते हैं. With reference to सुकन्या समृद्धि स्कीम. सुकन्या समृद्धि स्कीम से रिलेटेड. Now you know सुकन्या समृद्धि स्कीम जो है ये is it a small saving scheme? Anybody? Is Sukanya saving scheme a part of a small saving scheme? And ठीक है, तो ये है. ठीक है, सुकन्या समृद्धि स्कीम is part of a small saving scheme. ये सही है. ठीक है. It can be opened at any post office and some commercial banks. Okay. Now, if you know about Sukanya Samriddhi scheme, you know that Sukanya Samriddhi scheme, you can get the account opened in any post office. You can go to any post office one and some of the commercial banks, not in all commercial banks. There is a selected list of commercial banks. Only there you can go and open it. So statement number 1 though is correct. Okay. No money can be withdrawn from the account before the marriage of the girls. Okay. So can you withdraw money before marriage of the girl? Okay. Yes, certainly you can. You can withdraw a part of money for girls' higher studies. Okay. So this is a very extreme statement that you cannot. So ये तो गलत है. ठीक है. 2 is गलत. 2 गलत है. You can do that, but you will have to wait. And for girls' higher studies. The moment you know that 2 is wrong, you have to decide between 1 and 3 only and 3 only. और ये 3 क्या है? Natural guardians of a girl child shall be allowed to open the account for 2 girls child only. Yes, it is correct. Okay. So natural guardian of a girl child shall be allowed to open the account for 2 girls child only. ठीक है. 2 girls child only. Of course, in case of triplets, there is exception, but that's exception. For triplets, if suppose in first time only the parents have this 3 child and all 3 are girl, then of course it's not applicable. All Sukanya Samriddhi scheme will be applicable for all the 3 girls. Okay. But otherwise it's only for 2 girls. ठीक है. So 1 and 3 only is the correct answer. ठीक है. Which of the following factors have impact on the saving level in the economy? Okay. So saving level in the economy, it's so much in news nowadays because in COVID India's position was good because saving level in Indian economy was historically high. If we compare saving level of Indian economy with saving level of economy of say Western countries, particularly US, then we know that saving level of Indian economy was relatively high. So that was one of the reasons. Okay, which of the following factors have impact on the saving level? Which factor will have impact? Okay, again be very careful. It's an easy question. Why it is an easy question? Because it is not asking you to make a decision that how it will influence saving level. ठीक है, बढ़ेगा कि घटेगा ये नहीं पूछ रहा है. ठीक है, ये होने से बढ़ेगा या घटेगा, सीधे पूछ रहा है कि इफेक्ट होगा कि नहीं, असर होगा कि नहीं, डिपेंड करता है कि नहीं. अगर डिपेंड करता है तो ठीक है, डिपेंड नहीं करता है तो फिर दिक्कत है. ठीक है. तो डिक्रीज इन द इंटरेस्ट रेट. Decrease in the interest rate, of course, if there will be decrease. Okay, let's not get into that detail, how it will influence. But yes, if there will be decrease in interest rate, means people will spend more, the people will save more because they will get lesser interest. So hoga hi. Rising income, of course, if people will have more income, they will be able to save more. Okay, at least logically speaking. Okay, if people have bare minimum income, then they won't have any money left after the basic consumption only. So ये चला गया. High inflation, if there will be high inflation, then again people will save less. Okay, they will tend to buy more, that because they will think that we do not know, maybe in future inflation will increase more, so let's buy things now only. again, and in high inflation, any fixed return instrument is disadvantageous in high inflation because money is losing its purchasing power. Okay, so again, if there will be high inflation, that means saving level will dip. Okay, and age structure of population also, this is correct. Okay, younger, because elder population tend to save more, younger populations have many responsibilities to fulfill. Okay, with reference to statutory liquidity ratio SLR, consider the following statements. So you have to see the statement related to SLR. Okay, first, it is a reserve requirement that banks are expected to keep before offering credit to consumers. So one to definition here. Okay, if you have heard about SLR and what it is, if you just know the basic definition, bare minimum definition, then you know that one is correct. Okay, increasing SLR is a part of expansionary monetary policy. Okay, increasing SLR is a part of expansionary monetary policy. Now, is it correct? Okay, मतलब अगर SLR बढ़ जाएगा, if banks will have to put to keep more reserves in the form of SLR, will it be able to lend more or will it be able to lend less? Okay, that is the question. Okay, so of course it will be able to lend less, है ना, क्योंकि अगर ज़्यादा पैसा रखना पड़ जाएगा तो कम पैसा दे पाएगा लोन पर. Okay, that means it's a part of contractionary monetary policy, not expansionary monetary policy. Not expansionary, it is part of it is part of contractionary monetary policy. ठीक है, it can be maintained. तो 2 तो सही है, sorry, 2 तो गलत है. The moment 2 गलत है, you will get at the answer 1 and 3 only. So we do not even need to read 3. Okay, but still let's read 3. It can be maintained in the form of gold, state development loans, okay, dated securities. Yes, all these things it can be maintained. SLR can be maintained in these forms. And SLR, is it maintained with the bank or with the RBI? With the bank itself. Okay, SLR do not have to be maintained with RBI. Okay, and okay, ठीक है, यही है. And SLR can be maintained also in the form of cash. ठीक है, so that's all. We discussed economy portion of the syllabus again. So all the best for next test, and all the best for your exam preparation. Okay, keep revising. Okay, that's single most important thing. You attempt test, and after attempting test, you analyze test. You see how you are performing in relative subjects. Then you plan your revision accordingly. Okay, and you have a look at what is your how much foolish mistakes you are making. Okay, so you have to look at how many foolish mistakes you are making. Okay, so lesser foolish mistakes you are making, better it is. Foolish mistake, that means let's say foolish mistake means unforced error. Suppose you know something but still you are getting that question wrong. Okay, so you have to be very careful on that front. Okay, so you have to devise ways to manage your emotions. Okay, it's prelims examination is not just about your knowledge. Of course knowledge forms the base. If you do not have knowledge, at least adequate knowledge, then it's difficult. But once you have that base, then it's a game of emotion. Okay, so you have to manage yourself. You have to see how things can be done. Okay, so all the best. Keep revising. We will meet again next Friday.